Yes, we're still onto the economy today, and we want to go straight to the interview segment. You will recall that recently the National Assembly did approve the 2.17 trillion naira the federal government passed to it for the supplementary budget. Now, we want to look at the details of this particular budget and how it is actually going to affect changes in the Nigerian polity. This is 2023, actually, which means that we just have some couple of weeks before the end of the year, and this humongous amount of money have been passed by the National Assembly for some particular reasons that are not so cogent and they are not so good. They are not human-faced reasons. So I have with me in the studio to discuss this Adereti, Emmanuel, an entrepreneur. You're welcome.
Nice to be here.
So now the National Assembly just passed a budget, a supplementary budget that is even more than some countries' budgets, for a whole year. And this is just a supplementary budget that is meant to actually shore up the main budgets of 2023 to actually say, okay, this area is not this thing, let us cushion it. That area is not this, not cushion it. But again, when we saw the fallout of that budget, we saw a yacht. We saw some particular things, federal, providing cars for the first lady and a whole lot of things that are not making sense. Payments to, salaries to some executive members or the National Assembly itself. What is the direction of this administration? Is it focused on the people itself, who is presently facing hardship, serious hardship, and needs serious palliative to come out of it?
Well, from all indications, it would seem that this is turning out to be a government for itself and itself alone. Okay, because it's sad that we run one of the most expensive democracies across the world. We run one of the largest and biggest democracies in terms of personnel, across the world. And we are one of the least productive nations across the world, so it doesn't make economic sense. It doesn't even make common sense, for us to be doing the things that we do. But then, what do I know? I'm just a local businessman.
Now, you're just a local businessman. You're still in the economy anyway. Why we are having a National Assembly that is supposed to be like the ones to sieve out the bad things, maybe the executive have made some kind of mistakes. They now say, okay, let us argue. This is for the people. They are the ones who are supposed to be closer to the people. And yes, the administration has made too much of appointments, because we'll not say that it's an appointing administration. They appoint so many people, and yet we do not actually know why Nigeria, at the point it is right now, that it is suffering economically, to be appointing more people into offices that is meant to gob in millions and billions of naira to pay them to be in such offices, and yet they are being appointed with the reason that, they will advise the president better. Has that yielded any form of, significance?
The sad thing with our current system of governance is that there's a lot of duplicity. Okay, you have too many people, occupying different offices that are meant to handle virtually the same thing, and that's a problem. Okay, so you have 5, 6 parastatals, that are in charge of virtually the same thing, and it does not make any sense. Now you have Minister for State in charge of this, you have Minister in charge of that, and you begin to wonder, why do you need to have a Minister of State? Why do you need to have a minister, to carry out virtually the same function? And to my mind, I feel that we are just we are just deliberately wasteful with resources. Okay, because nobody would run his or her family in that way or manner. Nobody would run his or her personal business in that way or manner. Do you understand? It's like appointing 8, 10, 5 different people as logistic managers, and you begin to wonder, is logistics not logistics? Why do you have to have so many? So if you will not do that for a private business, then why do it for a public business? Because governance is actually public centric, and it just does not make sense. And one would have thought that for a president who has repeatedly said that this is his life ambition. His life ambition is to become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You would have thought that he would have taken time, to examine some of these things. He would have taken time, to come out with blueprints that will, first of all, curb the excesses in government. That will, secondly, block the leakages. But it seems like this present administration is determined, to create avenues, for more pilfering to occur.
Well, before I go into the next question, we'll just go for a very short break and I'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still on to the economy today, and we're discussing a sensitive issue. The National Assembly passing to 2.17 trillion naira, as a supplementary budget. So it's ridiculous one way or the other, but we don't know this Nigeria. So you said all that. Now, going into that supplementary budget, what is actually the meaning of a supplementary the people? Because we know this is poverty, the subsidy has been removed and things have just skyrocketed, people are not benefiting well. Where should the administration actually pump the money?
Well, first and foremost, I do not see any sense in having a supplementary budget at this point in time. Your supplementary budget is supposed to be a supplementary budget for the 2023 budget. Now, this is coming at a time where the budget office is probably already working on the 2024 budget. Okay, so it does not make mathematical or economic sense for you to be having a supplementary budget this late in the year. Are you saying that it is now you're discovering the shortfall, in the main budget, as it were, or what has happened differently, to make you arrive at these conclusions? What's the emergency? Is there a natural disaster? What is necessitating this? As soon as this government came into power, one of the very first things that they did was to remove fuel subsidy. In fact, that's the very first announcements that the president, made, at the time, and he said subsidy is gone. Do you understand? Yeah, it's a fact that before he came into power, he inherited a budget, and wisdom would have suggested that you work out on that, existing budget, as much as possible, and then you can now begin to place your own stamp, from 2024 and moving forward. It does not make any sense whatsoever to be having a supplementary budget for a nation like Nigeria that is neck deep in debt. Now, it is not like the supplementary budget that you're making, that you actually even have the resources, to fund even this supplementary budget. You do not have the resources to fund the main budget. You're funding the existing budget based on borrowings. Now you're adding to that budget, okay, and you're going to be borrowing even more, to do this. And there's no form of respite for the people. It's not like we are beginning to see signs. It's not like electricity is better. It's not like the roads are better. It's not like the prices of commodities on the market are, drastically falling. Everything is on the increase. Inflation is at an incredible high, and none of this makes sense, and sitting here, all I can think of is, and wonder is if this administration actually know what they are doing.
Well, you talked, in fact, you just delved into my next question on how they are going to finance that budget. Most of them, they have actually shown that it is called borrowing. Borrowing is going to show up that supplementary budget and also even going to finance the 2024 budget, which means Nigeria is going to be owing more debt, and that is going to also deplete more of our external reserved revenue. So what do you advise for the government at this moment? Because it seems that both the National Assembly, the legislators of the Senate, and all of the judiciary, all of them are culpable in this particular quest to drain Nigeria of all its resources.
Well, I think that the government needs to be sincere, sincere in its approach to everything, and I think, yes, it's been a few months, of compensations, the incoming administration wanting to compensate, those that worked, those that facilitated their victory at the poll and all that. And I think that enough of that. I think it is time to actually, do work that is focused on the people. I think it is actually time to make policies that have direct impact on the people. I think that it is ridiculous, saying you want to buy a yacht, even though eventually they've come out to say the yacht was for the Navy, that's a misplaced priority. That's a misplaced priority. I do not think that there's anything that we need to be spending, any reason we need to be spending that humongous amount of money, on that kind of infrastructure. It doesn't add any value whatsoever, not even to the Navy itself. Do you understand? And there are a lot of things that the government needs to work on, things that will bring direct impact, things that would, affect that woman that is selling tomato and pepper in the market directly, things that would affect Emeka and Chinedu or Emeka and Co that is selling spare parts in Ladipo. Things that will affect Yarisika that makes a daily bread, from operating a buka where people go to eat amola and ogunfe, until we begin to bring up policies that have direct impact on this, then the government is not ready yet, and they do not know the assignment that they actually signed up for.